yesterday out at Epcot. Let's welcome back to the show, Jason Scheff. Jason, how are you?
I'm doing great. What's going on, man?
Weather's good, golf course is ready, and more importantly, I understand you're en route to Central Florida, so maybe some golf, but definitely some singing going on in the next couple days.
Man, I wish golf was in the cards because I know how great it is down there. In fact, a good friend of mine has lived at Isleworth forever, and I've played it many times. But unfortunately, on the golf front, I'm not going to have time, but I'll be back.
Well, A, I understand you're a busy guy. Two, you do know that next week is the Arnold Palmer Invitational in Orlando. So you literally just missed it by a couple days.
Oh, boy. Well, next time, hopefully.
Like I tell everyone, don't let work get in the way of a good time.
That's exactly right. I should have planned this better.
But speaking of work, I know that you're en route to Epcot for the Garden Rocks concert series. You performed there last year. We talked about it, and you're headed back. Talk about some of the songs. I'm curious, is there a favorite of all the songs that you sing?
I'd have to say 25 or 6 to 4 is probably right there. One of the top 2, if not the top song, because it never fails. It's such an energetic song, and this time coming through, I'm going to have a full horn section, so it's going to be the sound, and so I love that song.
What about some of the Generation Radio songs? Because I think I told you this last year. Every time my co-host Matt McClellan calls me, I hear your voice. Because his ringtone is, "Why are you calling me now?"
I love that. Well, for these shows, this is just my band, my solo band, so I'm not doing any of that material. But I think we should come and perform as Generation Radio at Epcot. I think it's a great venue for that, and at that point, we'd not only be doing the Chicago songs I've been associated with over 3 decades, but Rascal Flatts, which is Jay DeMarcus of Generation Radio, and a couple of cool covers that, along with a couple of our songs from that album, including "Why Are You Calling Me Now."
Obviously a professional, you've been involved in this, a day or two. Have you ever, while you're on stage, you're playing one song and you kind of you don't drift and play another song in the middle, but you're thinking maybe of a different song or something else?
Not really. That's a great question, too, because people have asked over the years, did it ever get monotonous? But not with that body of work. You realize that music is challenging. It's just a beautiful body of work, and I'm so grateful to have been, one of the main architects for half of the 80s hits. And so not only as a kid growing up listening to it, but becoming a part of it and contributing on the level that I have, it's never gotten boring. It really hasn't. It's just fantastic music to perform.
So Jason, I know you've been doing this a long time. You're obviously a legend. But tell us about playing golf with another legend, Ryan Fitzpatrick, other known as Fitzmagic, a Tampa Bay connection. Obviously, you play for the Bucks.
And 72 season. Other NFL teams.
Right. But you say he hits bombs. Is he a better football player or a better golfer?
Well, he's, I think, all of us are better at our in our worlds that we're known for than being golfers, except for Steph Curry, probably. I mean, that was amazing. I don't know if you heard about that, but his hole-in-one at the Tahoe, the American Century Championship last year. I was on the hole right next to that hole, and the next thing I know, we heard this eruption, and my caddy looked at me and said, "That's not just a great shot, Roar. That sounds like a hole-in-one." And sure enough, I looked through the trees and I saw Steph Curry running down the fairway towards his ace that he made. And it was amazing. And by the way, I came close on that same hole. I was going right at the flag and just landed about 5-6 feet from it. And I was thinking, wouldn't that be something if there were 2 aces? I have 2 in my golfing career, and one of them was in a tournament with Alex Lifeson of Rush, standing right next to me. because we were golfing that day in Grant Pier. And so I thought I was on my way to another one that day.
So, Jay, this week I was up in Spurrier's Restaurant in Gainesville and had a chance to take a tour of the museum. And another legendary golfer, Steve Spurrier, the head ball coach for the Gators, has a hole-in-one in his collection. Have you ever had a chance to share the green with the coach?
No, not yet. I'd love to, though. I'd love to.
I've had a few hole-in-ones, but that damn windmill keeps getting in the way.
You win big prizes for that.
Exactly, extra tickets. Jason, talk about the crowd, the atmosphere when you perform there at Epcot. You know, it's small, it's quaint. You can see them, they can see you. Talk about that experience. You've played in the big crowds, and you've played in something like this as well.
You know, when I started doing some dates on my own as a solo artist, you know, I really did not know what to expect. This has been since really 2019. I started really venturing out, doing some things on my own, and I didn't know what to expect. I thought, you know, is anybody going to show up? And even if they do, let's see what happens. And this is the coolest thing. It started with a cruise, which we're actually going back out on at the end of March. And people not only showed up, but of course, like I said, the body of work is so unbelievable and means so much to people that the response was amazing. Same thing happened at Epcot last year. Is that we showed up, and the fact that it's in the middle of an amazing theme park like that, you never know if people are just going to be going, oh, okay, here's a concert that I already get to go to because I'm in the place. And, you know, I use in-ear monitors, so you can't really 100% hear the reaction of the crowd, but, you know, we recorded the audio, and when I listened back, it was amazing because, you know, fans were there. Certainly, you know, true fans of Chicago's and mine were there, along with people who probably just, you know, said, oh, okay, let's come in and hear this. But the response was amazing, and it was, you know, it was not, I didn't feel like, oh, okay, you're just window dressing here. So it's really encouraging and it's motivating, and I anticipate this year is even going to be better. Like I said, you know, we're bringing in a full horn section this time, and that's always an extra added touch. So I just love it. I love the short set too, 30 minutes, 3 a night, and so it you know, you get up there and you just pick 5 great songs, iconic songs, hits that people know, and then you get done, so it kind of leaves people wanting for more. They come back for the next set, and then there's 3 of them, and so I loved it. Thank you for having me, Epcot, and I'm glad that we're establishing a great relationship.
So we had somebody on a year ago, 2 years ago, I don't remember, and we were talking about their set at Epcot, and he said he was halfway through the first set, and a few people got up and started to walk out, and he stopped the show in the middle of the show. And he said, what's going on? Did I do something wrong? And they said, no, we're just getting in line for the next set. And as you know, the lines get there. They start lining up at 5 o'clock for the first show. And people don't realize that. So when you kind of, you know, jokingly said about, you know, just a place to stop and rest, people get in line at 5 o'clock, 4:30 for that first show. So people definitely are coming because of these concerts.
I saw that, you know, when we walked up for the first show, and I saw the line of people there, and like I said, there were a bunch of true fans that I'd really been seeing over 30 years, and it was beautiful and continues to be beautiful. You know, people line up, so I get it. You know, you get to go hang out in one of the most amazing theme parks in the world. I'm from Southern California, so I grew up going to Disneyland, so I get it. And then to be able to go and hear music that you love, what an incredible thing they're doing out there.
So Jason, speaking about the hole-in-one, Steph Curry, you said there's levels to the roar. Are there levels in concerts and venues? Is there one that stands out more where, like, wow, that crowd was the most energized or the biggest of all time? They say in Seattle, the 12th man is the crowd. It affects the gameplay in the Seahawks. So, you know, what's that one venue or crowd that really stands out to you?
You know, I've been thinking about this lately because I hear every once in a while a recording of some of the very early days that I was out touring with Chicago, starting in 1986. And there's nothing like having a hit record. So "Will You Still Love Me," when it went to number 3, so almost all the way to the top. It was amazing. We would perform that song, and the sound of the crowd was just unbelievable. And we were all young, so it's a young sound, right? And all of a sudden, as years go by, and the audience, we all grow up and we get a little older, it's not quite that sound anymore. Plus, it's not the in the moment of having current hit records. But all of a sudden, funny enough, I've been doing symphony dates, and my first one was in Victoria, Texas, last year. Was it last year or the year before? I can't even remember. I'm getting up in my years. But I'm telling you this: the sound of that crowd was loud, and I was going, wow, this is a symphony crowd. But again, just hearing that music presented in that kind of way reminded me of that surge of energy of when I first started out. So it's still there. It's still there, and again, when I listen to some of the, actually seeing it on YouTube, people would post videos of Epcot Center last year when I played there. Hearing the sound of the audience it's very, very similar, because I really believe this too, that those of us that have been involved in this era of music and being fans of it, as long as we can still experience it, there's a part of our lives and our youth and our soundtracks of our lives that bring us back to those moments. And one day we're not going to be here. We're losing a lot of people left and right. And so I don't mean for this to sound morose, and I don't look at it like that. It's empowering to me to get out and live and don't waste time, because we're still here, and it's an amazing feeling to be able to experience the stuff that we all came up around. There's people retiring left and right, as you see, incredible, iconic artists. And so to be able to be out and perform this music, I think that's part of where the energy comes from the crowd. So I embrace wholeheartedly, to be out there and perform, because it makes me feel great, and people are really responding to it.
Jason, before we let you go, last year you were on, you talked about your website, you talked about there were some autographed CDs and such on your website that can be purchased. Are they still there? Are there other things that we need to go check out on the website?
I'm the worst when it comes to quote-unquote merch, but I realize that it's important. People want it. So I don't really have the CD available anymore. There's a handful of them left, and so I've actually thought of putting them up there, and so okay, you've pushed me. All right. So JasonScheff.com.
There you go.
Go ahead. At least if you want to come there and subscribe to a newsletter, or I actually have some pretty cool educational stuff musically there, and have been dabbling in a lot of that stuff over the years. So JasonScheff.com. Yeah, come there. You can see the dates that I have, and then I will definitely have. There's a store actually too. There's a store tab, and so there's shirts and mugs, and I'm actually right in the process of finishing new material for a new Jason Scheff record with some iconic artists that are involved in it. My philosophy and theory is I love new music. I love new artists. I love younger, producers and artists. But I've gone back all the way to the guys that I grew up listening to that shaped me, such as Michael O'Mardian, who's the piano player of the 70s that became a session ace, Steely Dan, starting with Ricky Don't Lose That Number, Asia, but he also produced massive records, starting with Donna Summer, She Works Hard for the Money, all the way into Rod Stewart, Christopher Cross's breakout record, Sailing. That's Michael O'Mardian. Michael O'Marty and also produced Peter Cetera's record that had Glory of Love and Next Time I Fall. Well, Michael is all over my new record. So, and I've hired all the great, iconic studio musicians of the 70s and the 80s who made all these records. Steve Ferroni, who plays with me, who will be with me at Epcot, who's iconic. Tom Petty's drummer for 25 years and a million records that you've heard. That's in the works. So if you come to jasonscheff.com and just get signed up to get news and information, that stuff's going to be released this year.
All you have to do is get to the website.
And Jason, I don't know if you know this, but if you hit a hole in one on the windmill, you actually win knockoutradio.com. This is how Randy got this radio program. That's the prize.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to be trying my hardest.
There you go. Jason, thank you very much. Once again, Friday and Saturday, the Garden Rocks concert series at Epcot. As you know, you'll be performing 5:30, 6:45, and 8. And I'm going to tell, I shouldn't say this on the air, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So my wife just had a total knee replacement last Thursday. And I told her that you were in town, that you'll be there on Friday and Saturday, and my passes are only good Monday through Friday. And I said, honey, I'll make sure you have dinner before I leave, but I'm headed to Epcot on Friday to go see Jason Scheff perform again.
What?
What a guy. That is so sweet. Man, will you please make sure that we get to visit while you're there?
Absolutely. We'll get it done. Jason, thank you very much. Enjoy, and I will see you on Friday.
Thanks so much. Can't wait to see you, man.
Take care. Jason Scheff, former lead singer of Chicago, and like I said, I literally hear his voice every time you call. And when you call, I purposely don't answer right away because I want to hear the song.
You know who to be calling next is your wife. Like, why they have handicap accessible, like wheelchairs, scooters, crutches.
She's not ready for that yet.
You could take her to the show.
No, she can't go.
You can't tell Jason. Like, my wife had surgery. I thought it was like the romantic. Like, oh,
No,
I'm bringing her there, and
Her
she's
first
not able
PT
to walk.
is Friday. All right, we need
my
to hit
God.
this break. Coming to you live from the studio today. This is Knockout Radio. We'll be right back.